Anthony Adams enlisted in the Air Force and flew a bomber over Japan. Jean Hacker, a nurse from Cleveland, served as an Army nurse in the Pacific. Richard Francis was captured by the Japanese and survived the horrendous Bataan Death March. These are just a few of the men and women who defended our freedom in World War II. Their stories are told in the book Legacies, Stories from the Second World War. Tom Swope has been collecting soldiers' oral histories for the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project, broadcasting them on his local radio show, and now preserving the stories in book form.
It features stories from 18 local veterans, 3 in fact from Mentor. Most of my father's diary is in here as well as 2 other veterans. I've done more than 400 interviews. So these 18 stories must be the ones that were most memorable to me at that time.
Tom's father, Clarence Swope, served in the Army during World War II. After the war, he married and the couple moved to Mentor in 1952. Owner of Willow Ornamental Ironworks on Mentor Avenue, Clarence, who was known by the nickname Mike, played an important role in the formation of our city.
I don't remember my father being a very political man, but he must have seen the need or somebody talked him into it, because he did run for the Charter Commission in 1959, and he was elected on November 3rd, 1959. He was elected to the Charter Commission for the city of Mentor, and I don't remember how many guys, maybe 6 or 8 were on that commission. So my father is basically one of the founding fathers of the city of Mentor.
But before Mike Swope played a part in Mentor history, he was part of the history of World War II as a prisoner of war. It's those experiences that inspired Tom to write the book.
He was in the infantry in Europe. He was in combat for about 6 weeks, and then he was captured. So he was a POW from December of '44 through the end of the war in May of 1945. During his time in the Army, especially when he was overseas, he kept a diary. And wasn't supposed to do that, but he did keep a diary, so he had a very clear written account of all of his time when he was in combat. He still had this little red memo book with him when he was captured and managed to keep it hidden the whole time he was captured, but he didn't dare write in it when he was a POW. He just kept it hidden. So after he was finally liberated from the prison camp, he did write about his POW experiences. Then he put it aside, and then about 30 years later, he actually sat down and looked at it again and really finished it.
Tom was looking for a venue to preserve his father's story and found the Veterans History Project.
I just started looking around for any archive that was interested in his story. Sent it to several archives over the years, and then finally in 2001 I heard about the Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress, submitted his material to that, and decided to throw myself in as a volunteer with the project.
The Veterans History Project collects oral histories of those men and women who served our country so valiantly. While volunteering, Swope found the stories so interesting that he created a radio show to tell the stories of local veterans.
Legacies, Stories from the Second World War.
I'm Tom Swope. My guest this week on Legacies is Joseph DeLuca Jr.
No, the minute I turned 18, I enlisted, and it was typical young kid. You seen everybody in uniform, and you thought, boy, I gotta have one.
Many World War II veterans are now in their late 80s. Tom feels it's important to preserve these first-person accounts before they are all lost.
We have a lot of really good written accounts from experts and authors with the history of the tactics and the troop movements and that sort of thing. This is trying to get the personal histories of what the soldier was thinking when he hit the beach on D-Day.
And it is the glimpse into these personal thoughts and feelings that make the book so profound and moving. The veterans are individuals with hopes, fears, and dreams who manage to set those feelings aside to endure hardship, danger, and near death.
The Allies saved the world, and they went through an incredible experience, and you know, Brokaw really did sum it up when these guys went through the Depression and then without question went to war, you know, and did what they had to do. And to a man and woman, they all seemed to say that I was just doing my job. And they said it was the greatest experience I ever went through, but almost all of them say I never want to go through it again. And I'll sit down and talk to these guys who have never really met me face to face before, and they will open up and tell me things, and many, many times they'll say, I've never told this to anyone else before, and I'm just moved.
You can experience these amazing and personal stories in Legacies, Stories from the Second World War. It's available at Stewart's Hobbies in Willoughby, Military Pride in Wickliffe, and directly from the author, by calling 255-7410.
Just their strength of character. I mean, we can all learn something from what these guys went through. And you think that they went through these experiences during World War II especially, well, always really, when they were young men and women.